Walk into any garden center and you'll see shelves lined with fertilizer bags, each promising to transform your struggling plants into green giants. But here's what every experienced gardener eventually discovers: the best soil builder isn't sitting on a shelf with a hefty price tag. It's growing quietly in gardens around the world, working 24 hours a day to manufacture nitrogen and pump it directly into the soil. These botanical miracle workers don't just feed themselves, they feed every plant within reach of their roots, creating underground networks of fertility that keep giving year after year. The secret lies in a partnership older than agriculture itself. Certain plants have struck a deal with specialized bacteria, housing them in root nodules where they convert atmospheric nitrogen into plant-available nutrients. This biological factory runs constantly, pulling nitrogen from the air and depositing it in your soil while you sleep, work, or tend to other garden tasks. Today, we're diving deep into the champion that does this work better than any other common garden plant. A crop so generous with its nitrogen gifts that it can transform depleted soil into fertile ground in just one growing season. Comfrey, the ultimate soil pharmacy. Most gardeners are familiar with comfrey as a healing herb, but those seasoned growers out there know it as perhaps the most valuable soil-building plant you can establish. Now, unlike those annual nitrogen fixers that do their work for just one season, comfrey is a perennial powerhouse. It builds soil wealth for decades, my friends. Its deep taproot, often reaching about 4 feet down, mines minerals from subsoil layers that shallow-rooted plants can never access. Comfrey doesn't just fix nitrogen through root partnerships, no sir. Its leaves contain higher concentrations of potassium, phosphorus, and nitrogen than most commercial fertilizers. When you cut the leaves and let them decompose around other plants, you're creating a slow-release fertilizer factory that feeds continuously throughout the growing season. It's like having a natural fertilizer factory right in your garden. The leaves break down rapidly, releasing nutrients exactly when growing plants need them most. The real magic happens underground, where comfrey's extensive root system creates channels that improve drainage and soil structure. As older roots die and decompose naturally, they leave behind organic matter deep in the soil profile, feeding beneficial organisms and creating long-term fertility that lasts for years. Buckwheat builds soil in record time. While most cover crops take months to improve soil, buckwheat works at lightning speed. This fast-growing annual can be seeded in spring and provide significant soil benefits within just 60 days. Its fine root system penetrates compacted soil layers, breaking up hardpan and creating space for air and water movement. Buckwheat has a unique ability to scavenge phosphorus from soil compounds that other plants cannot access. It essentially unlocks stored nutrients already present in your soil, making them available to future crops. When you mow down mature buckwheat and let it decompose, you're recycling these nutrients in forms that other plants can readily use. The plant also produces abundant flowers that attract beneficial insects, creating habitat for pollinators and predatory species that help control garden pests. Red clover works harder than its white cousin. While white clover gets most of the attention as a nitrogen fixer, red clover delivers superior soil building performance in most garden situations. Its deeper root system fixes more nitrogen per plant, and the higher biomass means more organic matter when the plants decompose. Red clover thrives in slightly acidic soils where other legumes struggle, making it perfect for areas where blueberries or acid-loving plants grow. The extensive root system creates natural tillage, breaking up compacted layers without mechanical cultivation. This biological tillage improves soil structure while adding nitrogen throughout the root zone. When established properly, red clover can fix up to 200 pounds of nitrogen per acre annually. In home garden terms, that's enough fertility to feed heavy nitrogen users like corn or leafy greens without any additional fertilizer inputs. Fava beans excel in cool weather windows. You know, most nitrogen-fixing crops really need warm soil to establish properly, but fava beans actually thrive in cool conditions when other legumes just fail. This makes them incredibly valuable for, well, extending your soil building season into fall and early spring when garden beds might otherwise just sit empty. Fava beans can handle frost and, honestly, they continue fixing nitrogen at soil temperatures that shut down other biological processes. Their robust root systems develop large active nodules even in cold conditions, steadily building soil reserves during months when most gardeners aren't thinking about fertility. The plants also produce substantial biomass above ground. When cut and composted or left to decompose in place, fava beans provide both nitrogen and organic matter that improve soil texture and water-holding capacity. Crimson clover adds beauty while building fertility. Few cover crops offer the visual appeal of crimson clover, with its brilliant red blooms that carpet entire fields in spring. But beneath those stunning flowers, the root system is quietly manufacturing nitrogen and building soil organic matter. It's like a hidden factory down there doing its thing. You know, crimson clover works exceptionally well as an overwintering cover crop in areas with mild winters. Planted in late summer or early fall, it establishes before cold weather and begins active growth as soon as temperatures warm in spring. It's pretty amazing how it adapts to the seasons, isn't it? This extended growing season really maximizes nitrogen fixation and biomass production. It's fascinating how nature has its way of optimizing every little bit of the cycle, wouldn't you agree? The timing works perfectly for spring vegetable planting. You can mow down the clover just as it begins flowering when nitrogen content peaks, and plant warm season crops directly into the residue-enriched soil. Building your nitrogen-fixing strategy is key. The most successful soil-building programs, you know, combine multiple nitrogen-fixing species in a planned rotation that keeps these biological fertility factories running all year round. Start with your garden's empty spaces and off-season windows, then gradually expand nitrogen-fixing plants into main growing areas during their rest periods. So you know, it's really important to consider your climate and growing season when you're selecting species. Cool weather fixers like fava beans and crimson clover really excel in fall and early spring slots, while warm season options like cowpeas and soybeans work best during those summer months. The key here is consistency rather than complexity. Honestly, even just adding one nitrogen-fixing crop to each bed every year will create some noticeable soil improvements within, say, 2 growing seasons. Over time, you'll build soil reserves that support more productive harvests while reducing dependence on purchased fertilizers. These plants represent one of nature's most efficient soil renewal systems. By giving them space in your garden, you're tapping into biological processes that have sustained plant communities for millennia. The result is living soil that grows more fertile each season, supporting healthier plants and bigger harvests year after year. Make sure to subscribe to Crop Corner for more soil building secrets and share this guide with fellow gardeners ready to transform their tired soil into thriving garden gold.